Nu no cụ lọ tế ý lọ lù ủa này cho chống lần nu lọ lù nó tà li cụ tế lọ lù nó chè cụ múa lọ lù nó lọ tế nè lọ ủa thả bể mình gì là thế nào. One question that I get asked a lot is, why can't I connect to my spiritual guides? Why can't I connect to my spiritual side? Why can't I connect to my spiritual gift? So, this is a question that will vary for each individual because everyone is at their own pace, everyone is walking their own journey, and not everybody is at the same page or the same place. How do I grow? What I need to do might be different from what you need to do because I'm at a different place, I'm at a different time frame than you are for your spiritual journey. But one thing that we all must do is to continue to grow, to continue to attain a higher degree of consciousness, a higher vibration in order to grow. If we do not achieve this, if we cannot grow our vibrations, we stay where we are. And that is why some people, they cannot move beyond where they are. A lot of people, they will go through their entire life. They will not believe in anything more than what they already do. In my journey, what I have found is that I have become more awakened to spirit, awakened to a higher consciousness, awakened to finding myself, understanding my consciousness, my spirit, my body, my mind, my soul. And all this did not happen overnight. I have been walking a journey. I have been walking a journey all my life. Before we become an adult, we are a child. Spiritually, we are very young. Even though we might be 18, 19, 20, before we're 30 years old, spiritually, we are considered very young. And in this time frame, our consciousness and our vibrations are limited. We can grow. It doesn't mean we cannot grow. But we are at a stage where we are limited in how much we can grow. After we are 30 years old, between 30 and 60 years old, that is the time frame where we can grow heavily. If we work really hard to raise our vibrations, our frequency, that is the optimal time to grow. If you work hard during that time frame, you have the potential, you have the capability to grow to an optimal level. You have the capacity to grow to be the highest you can be in your vibrations. From 60 to 90 years old and beyond, your consciousness starts to fade, and that might not be the right word for it, but it's like a parabola. In that early years, the parabola is not as steep. And in between 30 and 60 years, that's when it's most steep. And then from 60 to 90 years, it levels off. It levels off. And then from 60 years and beyond, the parabola, it starts to level off again. It's not steep anymore. So our consciousness, our capacity to grow, to connect to spirit, to become enlightened, varies across our lifetime. And in those middle years, if we focus on being just a regular human being, if our focus is on making a living, growing a home, growing a family, then we are disconnected from spirit. We are disconnected from our capacity to grow. And that's okay, because some people will become too busy, too dedicated to the human life, that they will be completely disconnected from their spiritual and their soul spirit consciousness. And so if they pass that window where they have the biggest capacity to grow, then they start to level off and their capacity to grow becomes limited. That's why Hmong people, Mona, we have this saying that if you're going to learn, if you're going to grow, you hay thì có yếu ổn năng, you hay thì có yếu chất ổn năng. Thì cái chi ua thổ có lùa, cái chi ua thổng gió, có ua có thể li chờ, có ua có chút gì thể li xia, có thể li yếu chờ nữa nè. Thì khó nó nữ do vì hay thì lúc xí hở thổ có một bé cho xong một đầu cho xong rồi nè. Nếu lúc xí hở và có lo đỡ có cho cái này cái dài dùng gì chạ dùng chạ có lúc yên công yên hoa nếu lo nếu sau có cá chú cái gì có nếu xé chạ thổ con thầu đầu cho xong mù nè cái nếu đau rú nè nếu chua rú nè nếu chỉ bay to hay thì có yếu chỉ chơi đi lọ là she it doesn't mean you will not grow anymore. It's just that your capacity to grow becomes more limited. And so that's why it's so important to reconnect to your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul during the most important time frames of your life, which are the time period where you are an adult until before you become elderly. And during this time, you can make the choice to understand, to find your path, your spiritual path, your spiritual purpose. Or you can choose to toss all of that and to just live like a human being, a regular, normal human being, and be oblivious to any spiritual aspect. And that is what some people choose to do. And it is completely okay to do that. But for myself, I have taken this path. I have taken this path to become more connected to my spiritual vibrations. I have taken this path to reconnect to my soul, to my spirit. And in doing this, I am more connected to my mind and my body. And this allows me to have an understanding of who I am. It allows me to have better understanding about where I'm going and why I'm here. Now, I would never have bothered to think like this or to take this path had I never set foot upon my spiritual awakening journey, had I never set out to be a shaman, to understand, to give myself the opportunity to understand who I might be. Now, there are a lot of you that are beginning your journey, or you're starting to question your journey. You're starting to question who you are. And this means you're on the right path. It means something within you is prompting you, pushing you, urging you to seek, to know, to seek to understand, to seek to become. And this is because your mind is being tapped upon. Your spirit is urging your mind to come back and to reconnect. Connecting is not always as easy as we would like it to be. And you're not just connecting with your spiritual guides, you're connecting with your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul. And when you make these connections, you will understand and you will realize, hey, my spiritual guides, who are they? Who are my spiritual guides truly? What is their identity? And in the end, what you might find out, what you might realize is that I am everything my spiritual guides are. My spiritual guides are an aspect of me. My spiritual guides are everything that encompass me. In the end, spirituality is complicated. Spirituality is hard to understand sometimes because in the realm of spirituality, what makes sense there might not make sense to us. And it seems like it's a dualism. It seems like it's also contradictory sometimes. Sometimes I will feel like this is contradicting. It cannot be. But no, it is. And it is, although it seems like it cannot be, because our realm, our state of existence doesn't have the capacity to allow us to understand spirituality for what it truly is. So we can try to understand, and the closer we get to understanding it, the more confusing it can become. And that is exactly what spirituality is. That is exactly what the spiritual realm appears to be, what it actually is. And when you experience this confusion, this craziness that doesn't seem to make sense, it actually means you're closer to spirituality. You're closer to understanding what it truly, really is. And so that confusion and that piece of what seems really complicated is actually giving you insight and giving you a taste of what spirituality is actually like. And the reason I'm saying this and bringing this up is because not everybody will agree that our spiritual guides encompass who we are. Not every shaman will agree that our spiritual guides are facets of who we are. Not every shaman will agree that our spiritual guides are just us, because not everybody can see that. Not everybody interprets it as that. Not everybody can understand that. And so, from where I am and how I understand it to be, and that's my interpretation, that's how my guides interpret it for me. And if it resonates with you, then I'm glad to hear that. And hopefully, you will be able to take that and to continue your own investigation, to continue your own journey so that you can open higher doors, you can open farther doors and deeper doors to allow for more understanding than what we currently have or what we currently can't understand. So when you say that you have spiritual guides, when I say I have spiritual guides, am I talking about other human looking creatures, spirits who are my spiritual guides? I could be, or I could be not. At the end of the day, our spiritual guides are of higher dimensions. Our spiritual guides are actually aspects of who we are across the universe, across time frames, across existence. And so we can be everything that our spiritual guides are. And we are this human body, this human vessel. And by being that, we already put ourselves in a situation where we can become better. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.